Tell me about the pregnancy. How did you guys find out, and what did they say about that?
Whether she just found out she was pregnant.
Yes.
Oh, she called us and told us
Okay.
that she was pregnant again. And it's something that, with her health, she had problems with Bella, she had problems with Celeste, and we were worried about her health.
Hmm.
Now, I understand you want to try to have a boy, but we're worried about your health before you have another baby. And they were trying, from what we were told, they were trying to have another baby. And then when she was pregnant, she had, she every time she was pregnant, she did something big for Chris. This surprise, go upstairs and read this, and she had shirts made for everybody. Said, we're expecting again, or something like that. It said, and he came walking in the house because she had on video. She's got to have 6,000 videos and pictures on her phone. And you see him come in. He was all excited and everything else, and I don't know. And then that Monday when she came back, she told Chris had told us that she had a sealed letter. So he told her, I didn't. This was enough because we kept asking Shannon, "What is it? What is it?" "I don't know yet, Dad. I don't know yet." And we know she went to the doctor before she left. She said, I don't know. I don't know." And then he said that she had a sealed envelope or a sealed letter from the doctor's office telling them what the sex was of the baby. So I never got to see that from her.
So who prompted the having a third child? Was that her idea, or was he pushing for it? Do you know?
They were trying to have a boy. He wanted to have a boy.
Okay.
Even though Celeste was a tomboy.
Yeah.
She was a...
When was the last time you talked to Shannon?
Before she left. I can look at my phone and tell you exactly.
Before she left for
Arizona.
Okay.
And then I just texted her, told her to have a safe trip back, and
How often would you talk to her?
every day.
Every day?
Every day we'd FaceTime. And didn't miss a day. If I missed a day, I was going crazy without seeing them kids.
But that's when she was at home? Is that what you said
I
earlier?
FaceTimed them even when Chris was there. So if she wasn't there, I still FaceTimed.
Okay.
I FaceTimed almost every night unless I got home late from work and the babies were sleeping.
7 years after the world watched one of the most horrifying family murders unfold, the name Chris Watts has returned to the spotlight, and not because of a new confession, but because of a rumor that's spreading like wildfire. A claim so explosive, so disturbing, that if it's true, it could rewrite everything we thought we knew about the Watts case. It began quietly, in the corners of online true crime forums and leaked prison correspondence. A mysterious letter allegedly written by Chris himself, hinting that someone else knew, that he wasn't completely alone in the events of that night. The words, cryptic yet deliberate, were enough to send shockwaves through a community that believed the case was long settled. Investigators once called this tragedy open and shut. But what if it wasn't? What if there were secrets buried deeper than the oil fields where Sean and her daughters were found? The idea sounds unthinkable, and yet, strange inconsistencies have always lingered. Deleted phone data, missing text records, timelines that don't quite align. Could there be truth hidden in the noise? Prison guards have reported what's growing anxious, paranoid, and increasingly reclusive, as if terrified someone might finally expose the full story. And in the digital shadows, whispers grow louder. Was Nichol Kessinger, the mistress who vanished from public life, more involved than anyone realized? This episode will peel back those layers, the evidence, the claims, the theories, to uncover what might truly be happening behind bars. Because if this rumor is true, the Chris Watts case may be about to explode open once again. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Dark Matters True Crime, where the shadows always tell the truth. It started with whispers, a few cryptic posts on Reddit, then a photograph shared in a private Facebook group, a letter allegedly handwritten by Chris Watts, mailed from Dodge Correctional Institution. The paper was yellowed, folded, and smudged. But one line stood out in dark ink. "I wasn't the only one there that night." First, no one believed it. The handwriting looked eerily similar to previous verified letters from Chris, yet the content felt too revealing, too dangerous. But then, another letter surfaced. This one sent weeks apart, to a different recipient, carrying the same undertone of fear and regret. Chris claimed that others helped set things in motion, and that Sean and never saw it coming. What did that mean? Was it a plea for sympathy, or a confession to something bigger? As investigators re-examined the authenticity, online sleuths began connecting dots. Inmates reported that Watts had grown withdrawn, writing obsessively during late nights. Guards confirmed he received a steady stream of fan mail, some innocent, some disturbingly infatuated. Could one of those correspondents have drawn the truth out of him? Even more unsettling were reports that Chris's demeanor had changed. He told a chaplain that his nightmares had grown unbearable, that truth has a way of finding the light. Theories began to spiral. Was he referring to Nichol Kessinger, the woman who disappeared from public view after the murders? Or was it something, or someone else entirely? Whatever it was, something about these new letters felt different. More deliberate, more dangerous, and for the first time in years, law enforcement quietly began paying attention again. When investigators first questioned Nichol Kessinger, she insisted she knew nothing about the murders, that she thought Chris Watts was a man trapped in a loveless marriage, preparing for divorce. Her words were calm, rehearsed, even tearful.
Okay. So again, this room is recorded, and video and audio. We introduced ourselves in the lobbies and earlier, so we're just going to do that again real quick. My name is Kevin Kovac. I'm with the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, and we're assisting the Frederick Police Department with this case involving Chris Watts. And this is Tim Martinez, also an agent at CBI. Sir, if you just introduce yourself.
Dwayne Kessinger. I'm Nicole's father.
Dwayne, what's your birthday?
November 3rd, 1958.
And home address for you, sir?
8801 West 65th Avenue.
Let's see.
And that's Arvada, 8004.
And a cell phone or home phone or where?
720-982-4547.
Thank you. And Nicole, can you just introduce yourself for the recording?
Nichol Kessinger. Do you need all the other stuff?
Yes, please.
I live at 12255 Claude Court, Unit 612, phone number 720-656-9605.
Claude Court, is that, I think we determined it was North Glen, right?
Yes.
Do you know your zip code?
80249.
Okay. Can you speak up just a little bit so the recorder, I know you're tired and you're stressed, and we won't be here any longer than we have to be. You've already had a conversation with people before. You came here on your own free will to talk to us. We picked you up at your request and brought you here. You can get up and leave at any time. You don't have to talk to us. If there's a question you don't want to answer, don't answer it. If you don't want to talk anymore, just tell me I want to leave. And I'm kind of in the way of the door, but you're not being interrogated as a criminal suspect. We're here to understand your relationship with Chris and what you know about Chris and his family, and events relating to Chris Watts. And do you know him as Chris or Christopher?
Either one.
Okay. So the phone number that you reached him on, can you tell me what that number was?
I think I deleted that out of my phone too. I just cut him out of my life. It's a 910 number. You guys have it.
No, we gave it to Mark yesterday.
Yeah, I probably
He'll
have it,
have
but
it.
just in case.
I don't have it
If I
anymore.
recited it to you, would you know it?
But years later, as these new letters surfaced, cracks began to show in the story everyone thought was sealed. Inside one of the prison letters, Chris hinted that she wanted it done before the new baby came. He never said her name, but true crime followers knew who she was meant to be. Sean N. was 15 weeks pregnant when she was killed, a fact that haunted both the investigation and public opinion. Was Chris suggesting that Nichol had pressured him to end his family before the child arrived? Investigators had once searched Nichol's phone. They found deleted browser history, late-night searches like how to delete text messages permanently, and can cops trace phone data after it's deleted. She had Googled Amber Fry, the mistress of murderer Scott Peterson, long before Sean and disappeared. Those searches were dismissed as curiosity. But now, they felt chillingly prophetic. When the letters leaked, old case files resurfaced online, reports, photos, timestamps. Nothing new, officially. But digital forensics experts claimed there were gaps in the data. Missing pings, unaccounted hours, text messages that had been wiped from both devices at the same time. Coincidence? Or collaboration? Chris's words echoed through every line of those letters. She started this. She said it would be easier if it looked like they left me. Was it a desperate man shifting blame, or a guilty man finally hinting at the truth? The deeper we look, the murkier it gets. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Dark Matters True Crime, because in Chapter 4, the evidence hidden in plain sight might change everything. When detectives closed the Watts case in 2018, they believed they had every piece of evidence. Texts, GPS logs, surveillance footage, the confession. But as time passed, quiet anomalies began to surface. Some were small, almost invisible at first glance. Others were impossible to ignore. In one newly analyzed clip from Shanann's home security camera, recorded hours before her murder, Chris can be seen pacing nervously through the living room. But in the reflection of a nearby window, there's a faint movement outside. Someone standing just beyond the porch light. Investigators dismissed it as a trick of the shadows. Internet sleuths weren't so sure. Then came the phone records. Shanann's last incoming message, time-stamped minutes before her arrival home from her business trip, had no corresponding number, just unknown. The same hour, Nichol Kessinger's cell pinged briefly near Frederick, Colorado, then went dark for nearly 5 hours. Digital forensic experts later pointed out that this gap aligned almost perfectly with the timeline of Shanann's murder. Could it be coincidence? Possibly. But when the letter from prison referenced someone waiting outside, coincidence began to feel like denial. Rumors claimed investigators revisited the data after public pressure reignited the case online. A prison insider even alleged Chris grew panicked after hearing the word reinvestigation. No official agency has confirmed this, of course. But for a case this notorious, silence can often speak louder than words. If these patterns are real, if the evidence in the shadows points to another presence that night, then everything we thought we knew about the Watts murders may be incomplete. Weeks after the first letters leaked, a third one surfaced, darker, more desperate, and written in Chris Watts' unmistakable handwriting. Unlike the earlier messages, this one didn't hint. It named names. It described moments. And for those who read it, it felt like staring into the mind of a man haunted by the ghosts of his own creation. He began by writing that the weight of the truth had become unbearable. "They think I acted alone," he said. "But someone else was there. She helped me plan it. She told me how to make it quick." The words were scrawled unevenly, as if his hand shook. He went on to claim that Nichol Kessinger knew everything, and that she didn't want to lose what we had. He described how she allegedly told him that Sean and would never let him go, that if he didn't act, their new life could never begin. For years, people had speculated whether Chris was protecting Nichol out of obsession or guilt. But this letter suggested something darker, that their connection had been far more intertwined than anyone knew. Some dismissed it as fantasy, a desperate attempt by a killer to shift blame and seek attention. But others saw patterns that matched his earlier confessions. Similar phrasing, same remorseful tone, but new details that aligned with real-world evidence. Even more chilling was the postscript. "She promised me I wouldn't have to live with this forever." Those words raised an unthinkable question. Was someone outside those prison walls still trying to silence the truth? Whatever the answer, this letter reignited public outrage and a renewed cry for answers. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Dark Matters True Crime, because in the next chapter, the fallout from this revelation reaches beyond the prison walls. When the third letter made its way online, it tore through the true crime community like wildfire. Overnight, forums, podcasts, and YouTube channels lit up with debates. Was this a real confession, or the desperate delusion of a man living in guilt and isolation? Law enforcement stayed silent, but that silence only made the noise louder. Reporters began contacting the Colorado Bureau of Investigation, demanding to know if the documents were being authenticated. Inside Dodge Correctional, Chris reportedly became agitated. Guards described him as restless, pacing in his cell, refusing meals, clutching a worn Bible and muttering prayers under his breath. Then came the rumors that someone from outside had tried to contact him again. An untraceable letter addressed only to Christopher. No return name, no address, just one short message written in black ink. "Don't say my name." Whether that letter was real or another fabrication, no one could say for sure. But it was enough to ignite fresh fear. Did Nichol Kessinger, the woman who had vanished into a new identity after the murders, still hold sway over him? Or was Chris creating ghosts to escape the weight of his own conscience? Shanann's family spoke out, calling the letters insults to the dead. They said no new confession could ever bring back the truth, that the only facts that mattered were the lives lost. But behind the grief, there was unease. If these letters were genuine, then someone else out there might still be hiding in plain sight. And for the first time since the case closed, whispers began circulating. Was a quiet reinvestigation already underway? The letters had done more than reopen old wounds. They had enraged a family still fighting to breathe under the weight of their loss. When Shanann's parents, Frank and Sandra Rzusek, read Chris's words for the first time, they were devastated, but not surprised. They'd always believed that Chris had more lies to tell. What shocked them most was that, after all these years, he still couldn't take full responsibility. In a private interview, Frank spoke softly but firmly, saying, "He's trying to blame anyone but himself. My daughter is gone because of him, no one else." His eyes betrayed the exhaustion of a man who had replayed the same nightmare for 7 years, and still couldn't wake up. Behind the scenes, sources claimed that the Rzusek family's attorney contacted state officials, demanding clarification. Were these letters real? Was the prison protecting Chris from scrutiny? The response was tight-lipped, no comment. But an insider whispered that certain materials had indeed been turned over for review. Chris, meanwhile, reportedly wept during a phone call to his mother, Cindy Watts, saying, "It's all coming back again. I can't take it anymore." Cindy begged him to pray, but privately admitted she didn't know what to believe. Had her son finally told the truth, or had he lost touch with reality completely? The families were once again thrust into opposing worlds. One still mourning, the other still searching for redemption. The lines between guilt, delusion, and obsession had blurred beyond recognition. And as news of the letters spread further, a darker question began to echo online. If Chris wasn't lying this time, who else has blood on their hands? 7 years after that August morning in 2018, the Chris Watts case still refuses to rest. Every letter, every whisper, every claim reopens wounds that never healed. And with this final wave of alleged confessions, one haunting reality emerges. The truth may never fully surface. Inside Dodge Correctional, Chris remains confined to a small cell, spending most of his time in prayer or isolation. But guards have noticed a shift, an anxiousness, a paranoia that wasn't there before. He's said to believe that people outside want to silence him, that he's being watched, that they won't let the truth come out. Whether delusion or guilt, no one can say. Meanwhile, investigators quietly monitor the online chaos. Each new rumor, each leaked letter, is dissected by millions, but none have yet been verified. Nichol Kessinger, the woman whose name still hangs like a shadow over the case, remains out of sight, perhaps with a new identity, perhaps living a different life. What makes this story so unsettling is not just what Chris did, but how it keeps evolving, like a wound that refuses to close. Every time we think we've reached the end, another letter, another claim, another mystery appears. Some believe this is all manipulation, that Chris is twisting the narrative from behind bars. Others believe there's more to uncover, that justice, as we know it, may still be incomplete. Whatever the truth is, one fact remains undeniable. 3 innocent lives were lost, and the darkness surrounding that night still echoes through every word, every whisper, every lie. If this case chills you as much as it haunts us, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Dark Matters True Crime, because here we'll keep asking the questions that others are too afraid to.